Hello, my name's Dr. James Weiner. I'm director of the Weiner Wellness Center, which is conveniently located at 2419 Baldwick Road, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, right off of I-376, about 5 minutes from downtown Pittsburgh. 15205, 2419 Baldwick Road, 15205. Our phone number 412-922-WELL or 412-922-9355. Our website is drweiner.com. That's drwiner.com. We have two Facebook pages, Weiner Wellness Center and also James Weiner. And our Twitter account is drjamesweiner. You can follow us on Twitter. Who would like to have breakfast with me? I'm having breakfast right now. This is my super shake with the reds, greens, purples, and oranges. This is how I start my day every day. And that's what we're talking about today. Now, yesterday we talked about bone loss. I recognized a few of the faces. I did not have this article yesterday. I found it at home. So we passed it out showing that meat and especially dairy products cause bone loss. So, you know, a lot of people are under the mistaken impression that using dairy products builds bones and actually causes them to disintegrate. And the information's right there before your eyes there. You'll see that the ones that have the most bone loss are listed from top to bottom. You'll see cheeses right at the top. And at the bottom, things that do not cause bone loss, especially like spinach, which is very high in calcium. Now let's talk about the state of American health. We're only 4% of the world's population. We're consuming 75% of the world's drugs. And we're 72nd in health, even though we spend twice as much per person on health care as any other place on the planet. And I think there's two reasons for this. Number one, medications are the third leading cause of death in the United States after heart attacks and cancer. So people are totally over-medicated. These medications are damaging the body, creating all kinds of new diseases, and also causing a lot of nutritional deficiencies. We mentioned in the previous lecture how if you're on Coumadin, the doctors will take you off greens, and that causes a vitamin K and a magnesium deficiency. We talked about cholesterol medication, the statin drugs, like Lipitor, Zocor, etc., and how they cause a deficiency of coenzyme Q10, which ironically can cause heart failure and congestive heart failure. How many people here are on medications? Okay. What kind of medication are you on, sir?
Lipitor.
On Lipitor. Well, are you taking coenzyme Q10? Well, you better. It's right. When you look in the physician's desk reference, which is printed by Merck, I believe they're the manufacturers of Lipitor, it says you must take coenzyme Q10.
I told my doctor about that, and he said, oh, what a hype.
Well, your doctor is a low-information doctor,
Believe it.
okay? First of all, cholesterol has very little to do with heart attacks. The majority of people who have heart attacks have low cholesterol. Did you know that? And cholesterol is a necessary nutrient. You'd be dead without it. Your brain's 50% cholesterol. Your cell walls are made out of it. Your hormones are made out of it, your male and female hormones. So it's actually a necessary nutrient. And one of the side effects of Lipitor happens to be congestive heart failure. And there are other side effects such as liver damage, Alzheimer's disease, muscle damage.
I got that.
Yeah. Well, the reason you have the muscle problems is because you're not taking coenzyme Q10. You better go in there and get yourself some Power Q&All after the lecture. And also, if you stick around after the lecture, I'll get you some free information we have on cholesterol medication so you can get up to speed and maybe even share it with your ignorant doctor. The trouble is that medical doctors really don't appreciate the side effects of these drugs. I'll give you an example as long as we're talking about Lipitor before we get into the subject here, which is nutritional powders. I had a patient a few years ago came to me. He had had a mini stroke. Fortunately, he had no residual consequences. His mind was fine. He was able to move around, no paralysis or anything. But the doctor put on Lipitor because they have this one-size-fits-all approach. It'd be like if you go to a store and they only have one size dress or one size suit. Whether you're 5'2" or 7 foot tall, whether you weigh 100 pounds or you weigh 400 pounds. It's a bad approach. I mean, if you had a clothing store and they only had one size of shirts and pants and suits and dresses, it'd be ridiculous, right? Well, we're all individuals, but what they did was, even though he had a cholesterol of 160, which is considered normal even by their standards, and incidentally, the standards have been artificially lowered to sell more drugs, not based on any science, he started taking the Lipitor and he started having muscle pain and weakness. So fortunately, he had saved the insert and he started reading it over, and of course they put this insert in about 4-point type that most people can't read, especially the people over 40. I'm probably the exception. I can read it. I can read very fine type because I've been a vegetarian for 45 years and I take a lot of supplements. So I don't use reading glasses, but most people my age, I'm almost 68, would be using reading glasses. But anyhow, somehow he's able to read this thing, and it said, if you have muscle pain or weakness, stop immediately and call your physician. So he called her on the phone, and luckily she did call him back. And he said, well, I've stopped taking Lipitor. And she said, why? He said, well, I started getting muscle pain and weakness. She said, oh, that would have nothing to do with it. Where'd you get that idea? He said, I got the idea from the insert that came with the medication. She goes, oh. All right, so what we found is we've lost up to 80% of the nutritional value of our food in the last 50 years. Unfortunately, medical doctors have little or no nutritional training. My business partner in Nutritional Frontiers, Jamie Dorley, maybe you've heard him speak or talked to him in there. He went to talk to a medical school in eastern Pennsylvania a few months ago because we want to utilize their lab to do some testing. And he asked them point blank, how much nutritional training do the med students get at this school? None. So what I would say is if food is so important, then in 4 years of medical school where people are learning to be doctors, supposedly help people with their health, it's so important that they get absolutely not 1 hour of nutritional training, I would recommend that we stop eating. Apparently it's not very important. All of us are wasting a lot of money going to restaurants or grocery stores, waste hours every day preparing food and eating it. Let's stop eating. This is how ridiculous the medical profession is. However, by contrast, there are a few medical doctors that are tuned in to the importance of nutrition. One of them happens to be Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn Jr. of the esteemed Cleveland Clinic. People fly in from all over the world to go to the Cleveland Clinic. It's especially noted as a heart center. My mother had her open heart surgery there many years ago. She had heart problems. She was living in Florida. I said, Mom, we're going to take you to Cleveland Clinic. So he's been working at the Cleveland Clinic for, I think, over 35 years. And in the last 20 years, he has started a program of reversing clogged arteries by changing people's diet. What a concept. And if you read his book, somewhere in the 3rd or 4th page of the book, he says that basically most of our diseases, most of our symptoms are the result of what we eat. So it's like a wagon wheel. You have that big hub in the center and then all these spokes going radiating out. So you have the diet and the spokes are all your symptoms and health problems stemming from your diet. We have an article over there, in fact a whole packet I'm going to give you, about heart disease and diet. And what Dr. Esselstyn is doing is he's reversing clogged arteries, not with drugs, not with surgery, not with angioplasty and stents and all of that, but by changing people's diet. Your body can heal itself. Your body is a self-healing organism. You are not a piece of furniture or an automobile. You know, someone threw a rock at my car and dented the fender. Now, if I didn't go to a mechanic and have that replaced, the dent would still be there. But 8 years ago, I fell and broke my wrist and it healed. I didn't have to get someone else's wrist. I didn't have to go to a body shop and have them cut the wrist off and put a new wrist on because my body heals itself. You scratch, if you're halfway healthy, the body will heal that scratch, right? If you break a bone, if you're halfway healthy, the body will heal the bone. So your body heals itself based on what? On the nutrients you eat, because you're constantly replacing every cell in the body. So you could have a wonderful architect design a home, You could have the best craftsmen, bricklayers, carpenters, etc. But if they don't have the raw materials, they can't do anything. What's a carpenter without wood? What's a bricklayer without bricks? So you have all these cells in your body that are replacing themselves, but they need the raw materials. Now, in the last 50 years, we've lost 80% of the nutritional value of our produce, according to the Department of Agriculture. That's why when I lived in France many years ago, people would tell me they visited America and they liked our country, they liked the people, but they said the food was awful. And I said, oh, you mean we don't have French cordon bleu chefs? They said, no, it has nothing to do with that. They said, we'd go to supermarkets and the produce looked beautiful, but when you taste it, it's tasteless because it had no food value. The way we're raising the produce is different than the way we raised it 100 years ago or the way they still raise it in France. I had someone bring in, a guy of Italian background brought in some tomatoes that he grew in his backyard. Unbelievable, unlike anything I've had in years. Red, juicy, not hard, not dry, not acidic, actually sweet. I gave one to a friend of mine. He said, my goodness, it's sweet. It's almost like a dessert. Why are people so overweight in this country? 70% of the people are overweight. Over half the children are overweight. Because they're craving nutrients and they have to overeat to try to get the nutrients. Their body's not satisfied because they're eating all this devitalized food. And I'm even talking about the fast food and the junk food and the soda pop and the refined flour and sugar and all that. You throw that in, our diet's a disaster. So Dr. Esselstyn's diet is a vegan vegetarian diet that's low in oils and fats. Now, wait a minute. I just said that we lost up to 8% of nutritional value of our food in the last 50 years. So unless you get organically grown produce like those tomatoes I got, if you go to the supermarket, you get those baseballs that are red tomatoes, you're not going to get the nutritional value. You know, probably lost 80–90% of the vitamin C in it, for example. How about minerals? People are very mineral deficient. So there's a place for supplementation to make up for the deficit. And even if you start today just buying or raising organically grown food, how about the lifetime of not eating properly or eating devitalized food? You've got to make up for lost time. So what we've done in Nutritional Frontiers, we've created powders. They are absorbed so quickly, you don't have to break down tablets or even capsules. And you can reconstitute with water or almond milk or something like that. So that's what I have here. You'll see it's starting to separate out. Maybe you can see some of the reds are on the top now. So what I do is, thank you, I take the Super Shake, which happens to be vegan vegetarian, which means there's no animal products in it. So it's kosher, because the kosher laws are all about animals. You know, if you read the Bible and you start reading the kosher laws, it's all about animals. You know, you don't eat shellfish, you don't eat pork. You know, well, this is kosher. And of course, the word kosher now generally means like good, right? I mean, this is very good because it's rice, pea, and pumpkin protein, low allergenicity. Almost everyone's going to have a good experience with this. You know, they're not going to be allergic to it like if they were using dairy products. A lot of people are allergic to dairy products or peanuts or things like that. So we have it in 6 flavors. It's very low calorie. It's only about 135, 140 calories per scoop. That's good for people like me that look at food and gain weight. So if you want to lose weight, you use it as a meal replacement. That's what I'm using it as. And it has 24 grams of protein. Most people only need about 30, 35. Now keep in mind, if you're trying to get that protein out of dead animals, you'll probably only get 30, 40, 50% of the protein that's in that meat because it's so hard to digest it. For this, you'll have a much higher percentage of what you're going to get out of it. You'll probably get 80, 90% of that 24 grams of protein. So 2 scoops of that and you got more than enough protein. And it's very low in sugar. It's much better than the powders that we used to have. I won't mention other name brands that we used to get from other companies. They were good products, but this is an even better product. Okay, now what I do is I add the reds, purples, greens, and oranges. These products contain at least 30 nutrients each. They have fruits and vegetables and plus some added ingredients. So you're getting this broad spectrum of nutrients, vitamins and minerals, antioxidants, etc., just in case you don't get it all from your food. And it's delicious. Now, I'll tell you what we do with kids. A lot of kids don't want to eat fruits and vegetables. You can take the reds, the greens, the purples, oranges. You can make a drink. It's as good or better tasting than Kool-Aid, no chemicals. So it can be a beverage for them. You can make ice cubes out of it or popsicles out of it. You know, mix it with water, and children are going to love this stuff. And that way they'll get the nutrients they need. And then they won't overeat and get fat. We put all of our cancer patients on these products because when people have cancer, they're malnourished. And also they have impaired digestion. And as I mentioned before, this is very easily assimilated. If you have cancer or heart disease, we don't want you on animal protein because that causes cancer and heart disease. So here we go, the vegan vegetarian protein. So this ensures that I'm getting the nutrients I need, and I start this first thing in the day. That's how I mean, you can take it any time. And I usually have 2 a day, sometimes 3. In fact, when I lost the 70 pounds a few years ago, I was doing like 3 a day at least. You know, when I get hungry, I'd hit one of these. And I'll tell you another thing. It satisfies your appetite because there's all these nutrients. You're not hungry. You can go 2, 3, 4 hours just on 1 glass of the super shake, especially if it's mixed with the reds, greens, purples, and oranges. Now, the oranges can help with sugar diabetes. Anyone here have a sugar diabetic problem? Okay, man in the back. We have 2 starter products for sugar diabetes. One is the Sugar Solve, and we recommend starter dose 2 twice a day, that's 4 a day, and then at least 1 scoop of the Pro Oranges. And what we found is most people are going to have their sugar drop dramatically. In fact, we have testimonials of people that were on insulin, were able to get off their insulin over time. Minimizing the refined carbohydrates, minimizing the wheat, and taking the Sugar Solve and the Pro Oranges. Then the antioxidants in the reds and the purples, I think, are the reason that my eyesight is so good. I bragged a minute ago that I can read fine print. Well, I've been wearing glasses for long distance since I was 13 years old. And a few years ago, I went back to my eye doctor because suddenly I could see better without the glasses than with the glasses, which is a problem when I was driving at night or going to a movie. And when he tested me, he said, "This is amazing. Your eyesight has improved 25%, and I was in my mid-60s. He had never seen that before. And I think I have to go back again because the glasses I have, I only have them in the car. I only use them for movies or driving. And I'll tell you why in a minute. Starting to look better without the glasses again. And these are the much weaker prescription. So I think I have to go back. It's been about 3 years. The reason I don't wear glasses all the time is because I think your eyes accommodate to the glasses. Because the reason people are nearsighted or farsighted is usually because the shape of the eyeball has changed. The eyeball is like a balloon with fluid in it. And it's surrounded by 5 muscles that move the muscles up, down, sideways, etc. If those muscles are tight or contracted, they squeeze the eyeball and change the shape of the eyeball. And that's why Dr. Bates wrote a whole book, Better Eyesight Without Glasses, where he has exercises that people can do that will help relax those muscles, and then people start seeing better once those muscles are not squeezing the eyeball and change the shape of the eyeball. Do you need to ask something or just hang on?
No, I'm just listening
Okay.
to you.
And some of these exercises are you look up, hold it for a few seconds, look down, look for a few seconds, left, right, upper left, lower right, upper right, lower left, and then you go in a circle both ways with your eyes, not your head. And then you rub your hands and put the warm palm of your hands on your closed eyelids. And there's a whole method that if you do that, you can actually improve your eyesight, especially coupled with taking the reds and the purples. Now we have other products like Accutone and MacuShield and Lutein Plus and Astaxanthin that I also take. Of course, I have the advantage I get the stuff wholesale. But during the Wider Wellness Week, you get 30% off. So I would encourage people, if they think that they've starved themselves nutritionally, maybe not eating optimally, or maybe eating a lot of commercial food, eating in restaurants or buying commercial food at a grocery store, that you start taking these products because they're going to give you food-based nutrition in an easily assimilated form. And we estimate that if you were to juice the amount of product that's in one of these cans, it would cost you about $200. So what these are is dehydrated fruit and vegetables. And so you're getting, you know, it's $44, and during the sale it'll be about $30. You're getting $200 worth of nutrition for like $30. A scoop a day costs you $1 a day. So this is an excellent way for everyone to get nutrition. Now, how about people that are maybe on feeding tubes? This is a great thing for them. You know, the commercial products are loaded with sugar and dairy products and all kinds of awful things. They can do the super shake to get their protein. They can mix these other things in or take them separately. Especially older people, I guess I'm in that category now. Our digestions are not as good as they were when we were 20 or 30 years old. A lot of people are on Nexium, Protonix, Prilosec. Anyone on antacids here? This guy too.
I'm juvenile diabetic.
Well, you're juvenile diabetic, but doesn't mean you need to be on antacids.
Oh, I thought you said insulin.
No,
I'm sorry.
no, antacids, okay. So the thing is, if you're on digestive inhibitors like Protonix, Nexium, Prilosec, Protonix, Asifex, those types of things, Tums, you're interfering with your digestion, all the more that you need something like this. Now let's talk a minute about juvenile diabetes. It may not be true in his case, but in many cases, I would say most cases of juvenile diabetes that's coming from the vaccines. Do you think yours came from a vaccine?
After I thought about it, because nobody in my family.
Yeah, no one in his family ever had diabetes, and he has sugar diabetes.
One of those salt vaccines.
Okay, he had the polio vaccine from Jonas Salk, who invented that right here at the University of Pittsburgh.
And my classmate, she died from that.
A classmate died from the polio
10
shot.
years old.
Okay, well, yeah, and how old are you, sir?
63.
63, so you're just a few years younger than I am, 67 and a half. Yeah, we were the guinea pigs at the Pittsburgh Public Schools, and in fact, they never even asked the parents. They just, one day, they took us to the basement of Whiteman School and had this huge, I mean, it was a huge needle. Do you remember the needle was like this big around, and it was this huge needle, and they started injecting all this poison into us. And I remember this one girl, Linda Penn, her father was a medical doctor. She started screaming and crying, and so they didn't give her the shot. I mean, she had this tantrum. And I'll tell you, it may have been her innate wisdom, her soul telling her not to take this shot. So she never had the polio shot. I had 2, and then we moved to Florida. They were giving 3 at that time, if you remember, a few months apart or something. Then we moved to Florida in the middle of 4th grade, and I never got it, never got the 3rd shot. I had someone in this week from a local hospital who told me that 3 of his colleagues at the hospital got Guillain-Barré paralysis from the flu shot last year, and the one is still in a wheelchair and hasn't worked in a year. And the flu shot, the Center for Disease Control admits, is only 50% effective, which means 50% of the people that get the flu shot get the flu. The national average for contracting the flu is under 5%, so that means you're 10 times more likely to get the flu if you get the shot than if you don't get the shot. I've never had a flu shot. I take Immunomax, I take vitamin C, I eat a pure diet. And I'm around sick people all the time. In the wintertime, people are coming in here coughing all over me, and I never get sick. Okay? We have oscillococcinum, which is a flu remedy. If you feel like you're getting the symptoms, you take that, it'll knock it right out. It's worked for me several times. But the basis is good nutrition. How many people drink soda pop? Don't drink soda pop or cola here. This is a good group because that leaches out your minerals. And of course, aspartame in the diet soda makes you gain weight and can cause diabetes. And unfortunately, a lot of people who are diabetic, they recommend aspartame-laden foods. And one of the side effects of diabetes is neuropathy, where you start getting nerve problems, tingling, numbness, etc., eye problems. And aspartame actually causes those. So they tell people get on aspartame instead of sugar, and then they end up speeding up their degeneration. All right, we're going to open this up. We have a few minutes here for questions. If you have any questions, it doesn't necessarily have to be limited to the greens, reds, purples, oranges, or the Super Shake. You have the product information we gave you. Yes?
For a senior with brain issues.
A senior with brain issues?
No, I mean with memory issues.
Memory issues.
Perhaps dementia, early dementia. Would the Pro Purple or the Pro Orange be better for that brain?
Well, I think the oranges and the purples, the reds, the greens, all of them are going to be very important. But in addition, is this person on any kind of medication? Because we know cholesterol medication causes Alzheimer's disease or dementia.
He used to be on cholesterol, but I talked him out of stopping that. But he's on Coumadin.
He's on Coumadin, which is another thing, because then they'll tell him not to eat greens, and then he's going to be deficient in magnesium.
But he was
And
on Nexium for probably.
the Nexium interferes with absorption of minerals. Yeah, it's unfortunate. So we do have two products that I'd recommend, IQity and Brain Boost. IQity, IQITY, and Brain Boost. And we've had excellent results with people that had Alzheimer's disease, some of them actually dramatic improvement. So IQity and Brain Boost, 3 a day each. Next question. Yes, sir.
Oh, what is the Super Shake now?
The Super Shake is a vegan vegetarian protein source. It has 24 grams of protein, has other nutrients in it too. And we gave you out the flyer, and on the back it'll tell you, just what I'm reading here on the fact panel, no sugar added, does have fibrosol fiber, has some medium chain triglyceride saturated fat, that's the good stuff, no trans fat, has no cholesterol, has calcium, potassium, magnesium, phosphorus, iron, has about 20 amino acids, and it contains 24 grams of protein per scoop. And it's only, I think, about 167 calories. Let me see what it lists here. It tells you where the calorie count is. Calories 133. This one's less. I think they vary a little bit from flavor to flavor. 133 calories.
How much is it for a container of that?
The retail is $59.50. Today it'll be under $42.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Other questions? Yeah.
Can you reduce the progress and severity of myopia by just diet and exercise?
Well, yeah, she's talking myopia is nearsightedness. That's what I did. I was nearsighted. That's the technical term is myopia. But also the exercise I just showed you are very, very important for relaxing the eyeballs. I'll tell you, when I started having vision problems was I was 13 years old, and my father had gotten a job out of town. He was threatening to move us out of town. And in fact, the next year he did move us out of town. And so I was under a lot of stress. And I think the tension went into the muscles of the eyeball and changed the shape of the eyeball. But yeah, I can't make claims, but what's happened to me is that by taking those products and a few others, like the Accutane, lutein, and the astaxanthin, my eyesight's dramatically improved. Yes?
I was wondering, where does the produce come from that goes into?
Well, the produce is it's all organic. It's organic produce.
It's American grown, organic.
It's American grown. Yeah, that's another thing, because if you go to some of these big chain discount stores, the stuff's coming from China, and who knows what they're doing in China? There's so much pollution there and everything else.
What about what goes into the Super Shake? Did you say it was from
No. You may be confusing with the whey is from New Zealand,
Okay.
and that's dairy, but it's hormone and antibiotic free. No, this is American, and it's a pea, rice, and pumpkin. There's no dairy in this Super Shake. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Is there a product that contains all four of the calories there in one container?
We used to have that. I don't think we have that anymore. You'll have to check back there if we have any of that. That has all four, the reds, purples, greens, and oranges. And we used to have like a a box that had some of each in packets. This also comes in packets, these things, which is convenient. You can put in your purse or in a kid's lunchbox or something. So they do come in packets. You can take them on trips. If you're taking a trip, I recommend that you try to take your vitamins in your carry-on luggage, because the X-ray at the TSA screening is far less than what they use on the ship luggage, on the checked luggage. The ideal thing is if you take a long trip, like when I go to California every year, I have a relative lives out there, my aunt, who's 92 and a half. In fact, she's going to be 93 this month. I got to get her a birthday card. I ship it to her, and that way it's not irradiated. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Dr. Warner, this is a little off topic, but on your program, I've heard you recommend for people with foot fungus, you recommended.
Well, yeah, toe fungus. He's talking about toe fungus. I recommend dilute bleach.
Yeah, and
Or you can use, Vicks Vapor Rub, or both. Put the bleach on first, then the Vicks Vapor Rub. You do not want to use Lamisil. This is a prescription product. If you ever watch the ads on television, you'll see it can cause death from liver failure. So, I think I'd rather have the toe fungus than be dead. So bleach, you can buy a bottle of bleach in the dollar store for $1 and dilute it.
what would you dilute it 3 to 1?
Well, maybe 1 part bleach to 2 or 3 parts water.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, or the Vicks Vapor Rub. Yes, sir.
Concerning my wife, she has fatty liver.
Wife has fatty liver. Well, she's got to get off all the trans fats, the margarine, Crisco, deep fried foods, commercial peanut butters. I'd recommend she gets on our Live Clear 1 and 2. LIVCLEAR 1 and 2. Live Clear 1 and 2.
Doctor recommended pineapple with olive oil, virgin olive oil.
Well, pineapple is good, and also the olive oil we have on that free spindle where we have all the free literature there. Opposite the food table, there's that turnstile that has all that free literature in it. We have the liver flush that you can use with olive oil and lemon juice. It tells you exactly how to do the liver flush.
With pineapple with olive oil.
Well, I mean, if you're just talking about eating it, pineapple has digestive enzymes, has bromelain in it that helps you with your digestion. But to clean out the sludge in the gallbladder and the ducts, then the liver flush, which uses olive oil beaten with lemon juice, so it's like a salad dressing, and the whole protocol is on that sheet there. But then I would say she ought to get on the Live Clear 1 and 2. And is she on medications, your wife? LIVCLEAR, Live, like liver, clear. And there's a Roman numeral 1 and 2. They're 2 different products. She could take both. Is she on any medications?
Just lisinopril.
Lisinopril, high blood pressure. Well, if she gets off...
She takes mine.
Oh, well, she's showing self-medicate. We have the 7 flowers to lower blood pressure. Yeah, but does she drink coffee? Oh, that's good. Okay. The man that asked about the toe fungus, a lot of people that have toe fungus actually have fungus inside their intestines. And in that case, we recommend avoiding fruit juice, sugars, cake, pie, ice cream, vinegar, honey, and alcohol, and taking our Candy Kill, CANDIKIL. It has nothing to do with candy that you eat. It's short for candidiasis. Candy Kill and the Superbiotic. Candy Kill is taken with food, Superbiotic between meals. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
How is eating Marcus bar? If you went there and just ate the salad bar, is there food?
Well, salad bar, but it's going to be commercial produce filled with pesticides. I mean, I eat at them, but you're not going to have the nutritional value. You've lost 60-80% of the nutritional value of that food. It's not going to be the same as getting organic food or getting our reds, purples, greens, and oranges. And also, that food probably was raised with pesticides.
I'm going to be 76 pretty soon, and I eat a lot of carrots and stuff like that.
Well, carrots are good, but I would try to get them organic because carrots are one of the things that absorbs a lot of the poison from the ground. The insecticide gets in the ground, the water comes down, then it gets a little deeper into the soil, and then the carrots suck it up.
My vision right now is better than when I was 40.
Your vision's better, maybe eating a lot of the carrots. The beta-carotene, among other things, very, very helpful for vision, especially night vision. Yeah, well, you can reverse the aging process. At one of the universities here, I used to teach a a class called Eat and Grow Younger. You know, I could tell stories about people I know that people didn't recognize them a year or two later because they changed their diet and their body. What happened was not only did they get rid of all the toxins, but all the new cells were stronger and more youthful than the previous cells, because you have a new intestine every week, for example. You have a new bloodstream every 90 to 120 days. It's made on what you ate. So if you start eating really healthy food in 3 or 4 months, you're going to look a lot better. I mean, people tell me, people come in here, Irene, do I look better than I did 5, 10 years ago? What do you think? I always look good. Yeah, there's a young guy, well, she's known me for a long time. She used to come to my health expos that I put on 35 years ago, when we used to have like 10, 12 rooms of this going on with speakers from all over the country. And you know, we used to put on these big events. Unfortunately, in Pittsburgh, they've torn down all the venues that I used, made parking lots out of them. Yes?
So for your eyes, you would
Well, the eyes, I'd say the Occutone,
Occutone,
astaxanthin, lutein plus, L-U-T-E-I-N plus, and the reds and the purples. Okay?
Yeah, I already.
Yeah, if you want to detox, you know, if you want to pick and choose, the greens are very good for detoxification and rebuilding the body, the greens. Any other questions?
Any suggestions for hair loss?
Hair loss, I have a lot of suggestions. What I'd recommend is, when this class is over, go over to that wall there. You see with the big picture, it looks like a Mediterranean scene there with the awnings and the orange buildings. Right next to it, there's people that lost their hair, that grew their hair back. I find a lot of people have undiagnosed underactive thyroid. In fact, 3 of the conditions that I think are commonly overlooked by medical doctors: parasites. We had a woman that came in here 6 weeks ago with severe pain under her ribs. The doctor said it was a diseased gallbladder. She had to have her gallbladder out. We put her on Paracleanse. In 3 days, the pain was gone. Had nothing to do with her gallbladder. We've had people that had chronic fatigue and mood swings and all that type of thing, and we found they had systemic yeast infection, what I was alluding to with the guy that has the toenail fungus. And we put them on an anti-candida program, you know, off the fruits, the juices, and have them take the candy kill and the superbiotic. But then we find a lot of people have undiagnosed underactive thyroid. They may have so-called normal thyroid panel when they have the blood taken, but they have a lot of the classic symptoms. Here's some of the symptoms of underactive thyroid: cold hands and feet, fatigue or tiredness, weight gain or trouble losing weight. You don't eat much food, but or maybe you're, some people tell me, women tell me they exercise 5 days a week and they're eating like birds and somehow they can't lose weight, okay? Maybe they have elevated cholesterol. Perhaps they have dry skin or weak nails. Trouble remembering things. So these are just some of the possible symptoms of underactive thyroid. You only have to have one. You might just have the hair loss. So these people that you'll see on the wall, there are several different people there. One guy was totally bald. 2 of the others were children. We put them on the iodine plus. An adult dose would be 2 or 3 a day. I take it every day. And we have the hair, skin, and nails. We have the Ultra HNS, and then we have the tincture, Hair Plus. That hair tincture, Hair Plus, we started making because one of our doctors that buys our products told us he regrew his hair with this formula. So we started making it so everyone can get it. It's called Hair Plus. And then I would stay away from soy products in the cabbage family. No soy, no cabbage, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, or cauliflower. I would stay away from tap water. Everyone ought to stay away from tap water, and fluoridated toothpaste. No fluoridated toothpaste. And then we have a shampoo called Jason Thin to Thick Shampoo. And we discovered that, actually one of our staff members did. She was losing her hair. She found this shampoo and her hair stopped falling out. It's called Jason Thin to Thick Shampoo. Jason, J-A-S-O-N. Jason Thin to Thick Shampoo. We have all of that in the store here. We've got another question from this gentleman. Yes, sir.
How is the food there at the co-op and also at Trader Joe's? You know?
Well, the co-op is, I think the food's almost all organic at the East End Food Co-op. It's almost all organic, and they have their own little cafe there that's open until about 7 o'clock. So most of their produce is organic, and I think most of the food they serve in the cafe is organic. As far as Trader Joe's, I don't think too much of their food's organic. They may have a few specialty items that are organic. But when you're buying like one of their prepared foods, like a salad or something, unless it says organic, it's not organic.
In other words, you don't actually eat this for your meal every day, do you?
Well, yeah, but I called it a supplement. I didn't say this was a substitute.
Okay.
We don't want you to stop eating food. We're just saying most of the food you're eating doesn't have the nutritional value that it had 50 years ago.
So Eaton Park isn't really a good place to go to eat.
Well, I don't eat eggs, and well, so of course I don't eat bacon or pork or sausage or any of that. But I mean, this is my breakfast. This is the first thing I've had to eat today. I'm not saying you necessarily have to use it for breakfast. You can use this between meals as a snack instead of.
I haven't eaten pork for over probably 45 years.
Well, that's good. Well, I never ate it because my religion that I was raised in prohibits it. But anyhow, that's good because pork's loaded with worms. You had a question, sir? Oh, I thought you did. I'm sorry, what?
Did you have a recipe?
You have to go talk to Jamie in there. He's got these handouts with the recipes. Yeah. They didn't provide them when I came up here, or we'd have given them to you, but we have them back there. Okay, well, I want to thank you very much for attending. Keep in mind, we do have the free food on the other side of the doorway. We also have the free literature rack, and we also have the bookshelf here with free literature. And this gentleman in the blue jean outfit, I'm going to get him cholesterol information. Thank you very much, and God bless you.